this is a huge Democratic Party problem. If you look at Democratic cities, they are terribly run. They have incredibly high taxes. It is impossible to build, so the cost of housing. Let me finish. I give you a chance. The cost of housing is crazy in places like New York and Chicago. If you look at Democratic states, you go look at New York versus Florida.
Bill Maher brought on a CNN host, Fareed Zakaria, onto his show, Real Time with Bill Maher. And Bill Maher has been really coming around recently on a lot of different cultural issues. He's been coming around to common sense on a lot of these different cultural issues. And in this episode, he basically forces this CNN host, Fareed Zakaria, into admitting that the left wing is ruining America, that the left wing is ruining the culture in the United States of America. Let's get into this clip here from Real Time with Bill Maher, where Bill Maher forces the CNN host to basically admit defeat, basically admit that the left wing is the reason why America is going downhill right now.
CNN's Fareed Zakaria's DPS Fareed Zakaria and the former mayor of Chicago and former ambassador to Japan, Rahm Emanuel. And chief of staff, weren't you? You don't think that's a more impressive credit than those other two? Chief of staff of the White House? I feel like that is the biggest job you can have in this country behind the president. Isn't that the gatekeeper of everything, the chief of staff?
It is the gatekeeper, but the biggest job is mayor.
Of Chicago.
Yeah. And then chief of staff is the worst job until you get through it, and then you look back fondly on it. But going through it is
They don't last long. I mean, like, it's so intense, right, that you can only do it for like
18 to 19 months is the modern average.
Right.
Yeah. Not that I figured that out, but I want you to know that.
But with ambassador, you get called the honorable ambassador for the.
Yeah,
and so you probably get better restaurant reservations with that.
So sensitive, don't you think? Yeah, you do. And it's Your Excellency from now on to you. Okay? I went through Senate confirmation.
All right, this is from the people. What do you think about Trump's proposed $5 million gold card visa for wealthy foreigners? Is it smart economic move or a problematic policy? I guess I know what he's talking about. Trump wants to sell a visa. You get permanent residency. By the way, I looked this up, we are hardly the first country to do this. Doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. But, you know, I remember.
Yeah, we actually have a version of it. It's called, I think it's called the EB-5 or something like that. So it's fine to do it. I actually think maybe it's because I'm, very patriotic. I think 5 million, we should be charging 20 million, or, American citizenship is worth more than that.
It comes with Ukrainian minerals, though.
But what I love about Trump is he said, you get the green card, but with this, the gold card, you get extra privileges. like what? You get to vote twice? Or what?
It's amazing.
Well, now you're speaking.
It is kind of funny. It's funny in the sense that, like, Trump's always selling. He's a businessman. He's always selling. How can we come up with an upsell for our green card? Oh, let's do a gold card where you get extra features. It is kind of funny because I don't actually know what the extra features would be. Maybe Bill Maher is about to mention it. Let me know in the comments if you know, but it's just funny to me how he's always selling. Like, how can we upsell these people on their green card purchase?
Chicago language. I'm for it, but it's part of a bigger package on immigration reform. It's been 42 years since the last one. So I'm not against it, but it's part of a whole package.
I read that the current mayor of Chicago has an approval rating of 6.6%.
Round it up, Sep.
But I mean, you were just the ambassador to Japan. If that was your approval rating in Japan, they would do harakiri on live TV.
They would do it at 27.
I mean, what's going on in Chicago as the person?
Look, I mean, we were talking about this a little earlier. I mean, you have also the mayor of New York not doing well. Obviously, other things also here in Los Angeles not doing well, the mayor here. Look, and then you got mayors like the mayor of San Francisco and other cities that are doing well. So I would say, look, there is a general rule. I had this when I was mayor. Safe streets, strong schools, stable finances. Focus on those three things and your city's going to be fine. We've gone through 5 years where people became way too permissive of culture. They were all, which is why everything's locked up at Walgreens and CVS, and that is a disaster.
Yeah.
And I'll say this about our schools. I don't want to hear another word about the locker room. I don't want to hear another word about the bathroom. You better start focusing on the classroom.
I agree.
We had the worst reading scores for 8th graders in 30 years. And nobody, not a governor, not a mayor, not a president, not a secretary of education is talking about it. We're all wrapped up. Look, in 7th grade, if I known that I could have said the word they and got in the girls' bathroom, I would have done it. Okay, we literally are a superpower. We're facing off against China with 1.4 billion people, and 2/3 of our children can't read 8th grade level. So no more about the lot. Wait a second, I'm on a roll for a second.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, a lot of people on the right wing might take offense to that too, but he's making a really good point, man, where everybody's been so caught up in the cultural issues and like defending like the certain minority groups that commit most of the crimes and saying like, oh, they're so oppressed and everything like that. And you know, because you can't really acknowledge the fact that they commit all of these crimes, now that's why everything at Walgreens and CVS and Walmart and everything is all locked up. You got to go press a button to get an associate to come over and open the thing just to get a razor, you know, like it's ridiculous. And that's why, because everybody's so caught up in the cultural issues. And then, you know, you can also say that could be why the school systems are going downhill as well, because everybody's worried about what label is on the bathroom and like what gender can go into the locker room and which ones can't. It's craziness. Like, it is craziness. You know, we really should be solving the root cause first, right? Like, let's solve, you know, crime, education, immigration, all these things. Let's get those solved first. And then we can go worry about the first world problems that are which gender can enter which bathroom and all of this stuff, and which minority groups are actually oppressed. And that's why they commit the crime. Who cares why they're committing the crime? Let's just focus on the fact that they are committing the crime, and let's try to solve that problem. And then we can worry about why afterwards.
I gave him the light. But
I don't want to hear another word about the classroom. I don't want to hear another word about the bathroom until you tell me what you're going to do with the classroom.
Yeah.
Enough.
I couldn't agree more.
But I think, to be fair, this is actually...
I was being fair.
No, this is a huge Democratic Party problem. If you look at Democratic cities, they are terribly run. They have incredibly high taxes. It is impossible to build, so the cost of housing... Let me finish. I give you a chance. Cost of housing is crazy in places like New York and Chicago. If you look at Democratic states, you know, you go look at New York versus Florida, okay? Roughly the same population. The budget of New York State is twice that of Florida. What do they have? Streets paved with gold? I live in New York. I pay the highest taxes in New York. You get nothing for it. And I think that is the image people have of the Democratic Party. Fair. Lots of taxes, lots of regulation, but nothing gets done.
Hey,
and I think
I live in L.A.
Right. And I think, you know,
I don't think I would ever have guessed that I would hear a CNN host say that. But it's the truth. I mean, it's the obvious truth. You can't ignore it. They have the highest taxes, the highest crime, like everything, man. They're the worst of all worlds. I don't know why anyone would ever want to live in Los Angeles. I don't know why anyone would ever want to live in New York City. I don't know why. Every single left-wing Democrat-dominated city is an absolute shithole. Every single one. Why would you want to live there? I never thought I would hear a CNN host say that, especially on Real Time with Bill Maher. You know, it's not like he's an ultra right winger or anything like that. He didn't even really hold his feet to the fire too much. He wanted to say that. He just can't say it on CNN, I guess.
Like the Democrats have to own this and realize the answer to everything is not more taxes, more regulation. People are fed up of that, and they feel that it isn't working.
The Democrats, look, as somebody who produced the best graduation growth in the country, and we changed our high school.
You were a good mayor. I agree.
No, that's not the point. The point was we changed, but I'll take that. The point isn't the rules. The point is the results. And the party has gotten way too focused on what the rules are. And I do agree with you on this. We have made it impossible to function as a city or as a state, and been so. Take an example of this example here obviously in LA. It took a fire and a natural disaster to make you realize, you know what, that rule's not that important. In Pennsylvania, a bridge collapsed. All of a sudden we go, well, that environmental rule is just not important. We got to build a bridge. It's much more important. And I think the Democratic Party should take a look at it and say, we're going to be honest, like we did in 1994 with reinventing government. Everything is on the table. Nothing is safe.
And then we just look at it and say, that's essential. Those two things get out of here.
Yeah, that would be a really good idea, I think. And I think it's a massive step in the right direction that CNN hosts are actually going on Real Time with Bill Maher and calling stuff like that out and getting applause from the audience, by the way. You know, it's like you can tell that it wasn't the full applause that if he would attack Donald Trump, you know, he would get. But it's crazy that not only is Bill Maher coming around and he's having dinner with Donald Trump and, you know, coming around on a lot of these different cultural issues, but he's bringing on CNN hosts onto his show, and these CNN hosts are admitting that the left wing is ruining the country. Let me know in the comments, though, what you guys think about this whole situation. What do you think about Rahm Emanuel and Fareed Zakaria here going on Real Time with Bill Maher and admitting to Bill Maher that the left wing are really the problem with the country? Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this whole Real Time with Bill Maher episode.